Coming to you live from our studio in Atlanta, Georgia, this is the A1 Trading Daily Show. Whether markets are rising or falling, we're here to keep you up to date with the latest market news. Join us as we trade currencies, commodities, and indices live, Monday through Friday.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another live stream. We are back for an eventful day, an important day. We have unemployment claims coming out this morning, as well as our final GDP numbers. Let me double check. Yes, final GDP quarter over quarter comes out for the United States. We also have U.S. Claims. And what in the world? Is this wrong? Is this actually wrong? It says here that Jerome Powell spoke at 2:30 a.m. He must be, oh, okay, this is why. He's in Madrid. So it's 2:30 a.m. my time, but it seems like for the recent central bank meetings that have gone on, he spoke overnight, which does seem to have put some pressure on the indices. I'm taking a look at the S&P 500 trading up this morning. You've got NAS 100 also trading up. And man, I love having that music to start out the stream. Isn't that music fun? Chandler does that with the producer side. He gets the music rolling behind as we get started. Definitely hypes me up. Good to see everybody in the chat. Thank you for being here. What's up, Tim, Daniel, Ben, Edu, M, Harry, Andy Boy, PNA, Steve, Kabista. Good to see you all in the chat. Real quick, as we get started, let me know where are you tuning in from, and I'll try and say hello to some more people as we get started here. I've been really closely paying attention to the indices, of course, guys. You know that is my favorite thing to trade personally. What's up, Danilo, and what's up to Penny, Tejas? Good to see all of you in the chat here this morning. So I'm still in my S&P trade. For those of you guys who are regular viewers of the stream, yesterday I talked all about my S&P long. I'm still in it, and stops have been trailed at this point twice. Dose times, we have traded this thing for the last few days and currently floating about a $1,400 profit, which is cool because this thing gave back some profits, a few days back. Not a few days back. Yesterday, right? We saw some give back. Sorry, let me just put this. We'll update later. Saw some give back, but then yesterday, I mentioned this to Frank yesterday. So Frank is also trading the S&P. Frank, if you are not familiar, if you're newer to the streams, Frank is my partner in crime, my companion, my trading companion. We both work at the same company here, A1 Trading, which puts on all these live shows and all that sort of good stuff. Well, Frank and I both have been trading the S&P 500. We both have a long trade open. Does the mic sound okay? Are we saying somebody says mic sounds hollow? Let me make sure. Oh, 1 second. No, it should. Okay. Yes. 1 second. Yeti mic. Okay. I should sound a little bit better, guys. Probably just sounded night and day better. My webcam mic, I think, was picking up. I apologize for that. Can somebody please confirm that we are clean? We are clean, according to the producer. Thank you for that. All right. So, yes, sounds better now. Okay. Thank you guys for that. Again, little technical difficulties. When you're live streaming this stuff, it's a little bit harder than when you pre-record a video because, we've made many mistakes in our recording process. I say we because, of course, I make the videos, and then we have Chandler who edits my videos. James edits all the A1 videos and stuff. And, so when it's pre-recorded, it's pretty easy to adjust, fix mics, or go back and re-record something. A little more tricky on a live stream. But good morning, Vishal, Nathan, Kabista, USI World, Novlena, Maroon. Good to see everyone in the chat. yes, still in the S&P 500 trade, watching that one closely. We do have, of course, just a few minutes here to go before we have some market moving news. I want to pull up a couple charts. Let's look at gold here. Gold still struggling to get back above this level of resistance. 1912 here seems to be a pretty solid level of resistance at this time. I've mentioned, gold, it's been a little bit of a patient game for me. I haven't taken any trades on gold in a while. And you guys who are regulars, you know that I love to trade gold, right? Frank and I, when Frank comes on, we talk gold very, very frequently. We go over the COT data. I mean, I've been wanting to be a gold buyer for a while, but we just haven't had the breakouts that I've been looking for. However, one thing to point out is that, again, from a standpoint of, okay, we're at a key level of resistance. If buyers are able to get something going here today, meaning, for example, we'll zoom in, we're looking at the 1 hour chart. Let's take a closer look at the 1 hour, the 1H, as my UK friends would say. We're looking at the 1H, and if we could get a breakout above this level of resistance, that would be really a good start, I think. Gold bears have just been in total control of this market, and I'm not assuming that this is going to happen. This is a scenario in which things might turn the ship a little bit, right? At this point, gold just keeps getting beat down every time it tries to catch a bit of a rally. So for me, I'm really not interested in gold from my time frame perspective. Tim mentions looking at the monthly chart. We'll look at the weekly. I won't go monthly. I'll just, because monthly is just insane unless you're trading for the next 70 years. I'm kidding, but I don't typically look at the monthly. I like to stretch it at most out to the weekly. You have to say, okay, is this thing going to, in a longer term perspective, find a bounce here? I would say the weekly chart does tend to look bullish, right? You've had higher lows. This is a longer term thing. However, Tim and anyone who else looks at these higher time frames, it's very key that we understand the sensitivities of the time frames we're talking about. So if we look at the weekly chart, yes, perhaps there's a buyer's market that could occur somewhere in this general vicinity. The problem is that gives the day traders and the short-term swing traders and the scalpers some room here to potentially play around in the meantime. So again, it's really, really important to keep time frames in mind. If we look at the daily chart, I would say that the daily chart doesn't look very bullish right now, right? We should have seen a bigger reaction. And this trend line is not my own trend line pointed out. Frank talked a lot about this trend line when he was on talking about gold last time even, and how we both thought we might get a bigger reaction to this area. We didn't, right? And one thing about my trading style is that when I'm wrong about something, I try to get out of the way pretty quick, because I try and do in my trading as little speculation as possible. I try and follow what's occurring now, and it suits my time frame very well. I typically trade the 1 hour and the 4 hour charts. In terms of execution and active trading, that's where I typically am most comfortable. And so right now, this would lend towards, well, sellers are still in control. However, what's cool about this, Tim and anyone else who points to the higher time frames in reference to gold, we've got something kind of cool here on the lower time frames in our advantage as well. You could potentially, as I caught this S&P 500 move higher, with the lower time frames, the cool thing is that you can catch reversals a little, or not reversals, but breakouts pretty soon. I recently traded S&P 500, and I'll show you. You guys know I don't like to talk in theory. I like to pull stuff up. These are my actual trades. This is my actual brokerage account. I picked up the S&P 500 here, intra candle, on this hourly chart. So what was happening was this. We had this lower, trending channel going on with the S&P 500. And I was watching this zone, and I'm bullish fundamentally. I think that there's a trend here that is forming on the S&P 500. And until something proves me completely wrong, I looked at the higher time frames and I said, okay, we should see value come into play here. And sure enough, we did get the breakout, and intra-candle, I was able to pick it up on the scoop back in, and then price just exploded. Now, I do not want to come across trying to sound like this is how all of my trades look. They absolutely do not. It's not every day that I pick up a $1,400 winner in like 2 days. When they happen, though, it's really cool because you can see how lower time frames can, not always, can be pretty cool at spotting a new movement pretty quickly. What do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Do you like the lower time frames for that perspective? I don't personally get much lower than the 1 hour chart. I don't really find the need to in just my trading style, but I respect all time frames. We do not discriminate anything on this channel, including time frames. And yeah, so when it comes to the S&P 500, I'm still long. My concept here is if we do break back underneath support that I've got marked here, that's going to be my trailing stop. And again, we do have news. Let me make sure I don't miss it this time. I've been bad about that recently. We've got about 30 seconds until the news. We've got breaking news coming out in terms of we do have unemployment claims as well as final GDP coming out about 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be market moving, and we are going to cover it all here. Hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying these streams. They're free to you, but we work really hard to put them out here. There's a couple people, great people involved in making this. Breaking news coming at you right now. All right, we are 10 seconds out, guys. Let's see what we get for final GDP quarter over quarter, as well as unemployment claims here in the United States. Let's see what happens. And we're going to just keep an eye on the market as this happens. All right. And S&P, not too much volatility here. DXY, 15-minute chart pulled up. A little bit of movement. Let's see. Oh, there goes DXY making a little bit of a push. Wow. Gold coming down hard. That would allude to me that GDP looked good. Let's see if that was correct. Yep, GDP looked good. Remember, guys, GDP, if you're a gold trader, GDP, keep an eye on it because gold pays close attention to global economic health. So GDP coming out stronger than expected right away, we could spot that, right? That's the cool thing with fundamentals. By the time I saw this candle, I knew GDP looked good because that's what would push gold down. Okay. You have to be able to spot this stuff. And I don't think you get that stuff by purchasing a course. You don't pick that stuff up. You pick it up by years of dedication to this stuff. That's how I learned it, right? So there's no other way that I know how to understand the news, but as it's happening, I knew what the numbers were. It's not rocket science, but it does take a lot of practice. And so that's what we're here for. If you guys are, like I said, if you're enjoying, can't hear me. Can you guys hear me? Every time I get one of these comments, it throws up red alarms in my head because I'm like, did I just go quiet? Can you guys still hear me? Just let me know. What does a rate hike mean? Cedric, I don't want to go too basic on this stream just because we have a lot to cover here. If you would like to learn about rate hikes and basic fundamentals, search up on your own time, look up Trader Nick Fundamental Analysis. I've done several videos and I really should do some more regarding fundamental analysis, including rate hikes. Okay. Perfectly fine. Okay. Can still hear. Okay, thank you guys for that. Look at that, guys. Gold trading down and dangerously close to our 1905 level. S&P 500. So again, this would be in line with expectations. I would say unemployment claims came out. Well, they're still pending here. We've got to wait to see what happens here. Forecast was 264K. Same as previous. Let's see how things. Let's see. I'm not sure where are these numbers coming in? Are they what do we just get here? Did we get some sort of update or something? Okay. Weird. The number just disappeared. Did anyone get these numbers? Oh, there it is. It popped up. Better than expected. Oh, okay. We would expect a little pressure on the S&P, right? Because again, got to be able to think quick on that. Reason is pretty simple if you think about the Fed's focus. Fed needs jobs to stay cool because jobs heating up causes inflation. Inflation is the Fed's worst nightmare right now. They're trying to get inflation down. They may need to rate hike if inflation gets too hot. That pushes the stock market down, pushes the dollar up, pushes gold up. I'm sorry, down. I messed up. I was almost good. I almost had it all. I almost gave the full coverage. I'm sorry if I went too fast on that. There is this barrier. There's this learning curve to fundamentals, and I am very aware of it because I know how hard it was to learn all that stuff. I am not an economics major. I went to school for computer science. I'm a software engineer by trade. I've learned economic stuff in regards to trading over the years simply just by reading articles, watching videos, digging into it, watching countless economics videos. I mean, I don't know how else you learn it, honestly. You have to understand the full story. It's not incredibly complicated, but the economics majors out there will attest. There's certainly a learning curve to the stuff. It's a lot. Anyways, let's talk about how the markets are reacting. Again, S&P 500, I'm still in my trade. As long as we stay above this structural level of support, I will be remaining in the trade. For those of you guys who are inside of the Discord channel, if you have not seen my update, I did trail my stops. So if you guys are new to my channel, I do share all of the alerts that I am taking. So when I take a trade, I share it inside of the Discord channel. I use this genuinely as my trading journal. So what I mean by that is that as markets, as I'm going through the markets and placing my trades, I use this Discord alert service that we offer as my personal journal. So it is a service, obviously, that we sell, but I genuinely use it in my own trading to place my trades, to share my trades, to go through my trades in detail. So you can see here's coverage on the S&P 500 and GJ. Both of the trades that I took this week were actually very profitable, which last week I took a loss on the S&P 500. So let me be very transparent. I took a loss last week, but this one is covering that loss and more, which is awesome. So I picked up S&P 500. As I mentioned earlier, it was a breakout of this downward channel. The retest, you can see that concept right there, clean as day. Break, retest. I picked it up long, and I put a stop below the previous lows. Markets rallied like crazy. You can see in my update shortly after, S&P just rocketed, and we were at this point up $830. I put out a very important update that this rocket ship was just on fire because we had GJ this week and the S&P 500, both massive trades for me. And like I said, transparency, I do not want to come across as like I always am trading this way. I wish I was that accurate, but my trading overall has been, very good this year. So I'm kind of excited about that. S&P 500, again, we trailed stops further into profit. And at this point, we have actually even broken these highs as of my recent update here. Again, felt good about my stop loss. Again, these are all updates that went out to members. And then this morning, right, broke clean through the highs and certainly have been able to trail a stop further into profit, and happy to be taken out if this market does pull back. If I do get stopped out, then I will, of course, be stopped out underneath these lows. If you want these alerts and you want to get all the coaching webinars that we're doing and see trades from Frank and myself, join our community chat room. If you're serious about this channel, if you really appreciate what we're doing, join our membership. It is very reasonably priced for what it offers. The value that you get in here is immense. And also, I should say this, currently, we are doing a 25%, I'm sorry, not 25, I said that wrong, 55% off sale, and this is ending tomorrow. We are no longer offering half off our memberships. If you would like to get the biggest discount on our memberships all year long, the best way to do that is to send us a direct message right now and get in contact with someone from my staff. We have people who help people with their memberships, answer questions, work with them, follow up with them, get them set up with our software tools, whatever you need. If that's something that you would be interested in, do not miss our 55% off. We are looking for more serious traders to join our community. All you have to do in order to qualify for the 55% off is message us on our website. So click that link. It's been dropped in the chat right now. When you click it, it's going to take you to this spot here. This is a live chat support center where you're going to be connected with a real person, not a robot, not an automated response, nothing like that. Click this, put your name in, click the 50% off VIP signals, and you will immediately be speaking with someone from my team right now. Obviously, there's only one of me, so this is why I have staff to help me with memberships and people like that who would like to join our service. We work really hard to make it the best community. No hype, no selling dreams, no nonsense. We're really trading in here, trading live capital, real money. So if that's something you're interested in, join the action and know that you are buying into something that, again, is essentially it is our love project from the beginning. Frank, myself, we've worked really hard to make it a community that genuinely helps people in their trading journey. So I look forward to meeting some of you guys in there. S&P, like I said, as long as we stay above it, I'm going to stay in that trade. Let's talk dollar here for a second. Dollar reaction to this was very positive, right? Unemployment claims came out better than expected, showing some resiliency in the job market here in the United States. Of course, the dollar is going to rally off that. Big push up off of the lows here this morning. And it makes you ask the question, how far is this dollar move going to
It's how far is it going to go, right? And previously we saw resistance come into play right around current zones. So it'll be very interesting to watch. This dollar move here this morning is very, very curious because again, you did see a big reaction to this area, but now you're again seeing a bit of a push off of the lows here. And the question now will be, can we push further up to test something like 103.3, or is this strong GDP number and strong unemployment claims number, is it not enough, right? That's the question. And honestly, the numbers here today are very promising for dollar strength in the short term. I would say that there's probably a pretty good chance we could see dollar test this 103.3 mark. Again, GDP numbers coming out at 2% compared to the 1.4% that was expected, and unemployment claims, the job market showing a lot of strength, less people filing for unemployment than what was expected. So dollar fundamentally having a nice push, though I think that this is short term, and I've mentioned this before. I am dollar bearish overall, as I do think that the Fed is still making their direction pretty clear, whether they want to or not, that the end of the rate hike cycle stuff is coming, and that end could signal weakness in the dollar as other central banks continue to hike and the dollar sort of turns back the other way. So that's where I'm at. Okay. I'm overall bearish, though I'm not willing to short it when it's making a move up here like this. So yeah. So guys, today we have Miko and Marco joining us, but I'm going to just quickly have Frank come in here. We'll just do a quick 2 or 3 minutes with Frank and ask him about his trades. So let's, instead of doing a commercial, we'll just say hello to Frank, bring him in. Hey, Frank, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Hey, S&P made a move this morning. You've got an S&P trade on. Do you have any other trades, and how are things going?
So I was in GBP CAD. I trailed that to break even because I had been floating a loss on that for some time. It finally came back up, and I was, just looking to adjust and see if maybe I can get in at a better entry or whatnot. But yeah, it closed out at break even, so nothing exciting there other than the S&P, which I'm still, I believe I'm still in. Yes, positive unemployment claims caused that spike. So just holding on to S&P for now.
So you've got S&P 500, and your last update on a stop loss is 43.58. 43.58. So you're trailing this one, I would say, a little bit looser than me. I moved stuff up this morning just behind this level. Were you thinking about trailing it? So this is so I'm going to put in for Nick. So this is Frank's stop loss. We had pretty similar entries, Frank. Are you looking to trail that stop tighter today, or what are you thinking?
I'm waiting for this move to kind of fizzle out. So maybe in the next, I don't know, probably till 10 or so, when the market, will open, cause a lot of volatility. And so will this news. So just kind of waiting for the move to happen. And I think I'm willing to hold on to it if it dips low. I'm just expecting kind of big swings up until then.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. And tomorrow we do have core PCE, which should move the markets probably. Frank, core PCE is probably one of the most important inflation measurements that we get, purely because it focuses very heavily on the consumer, and maybe more importantly, the Federal Reserve has been very clear that it is their preferred way of measuring inflation. So, of course, we get the CPI number, the headline inflation that sort of everybody looks at. But the Federal Reserve, who does have a strong grip over what the market does, pays close attention to, core PCE. So prior to tomorrow, do you have any thoughts on the S&P? Again, keeping your stop relatively loose here by keeping it back below yesterday's kind of stronghold area. What would be your plan going into a big news event like tomorrow?
Well, I'd probably hope for lower numbers coming out. So we already expect the Fed to do what they're going to do. They talked about more tightening at some point by the end of the year. The market knows what's coming. 5.6 is, the consensus of where we'll probably peak. So any kind of good news right now is just good news for the markets, for the stock markets overall. And yeah, I see you pulled up gold there. Um,
Yeah,
still, still
thing
looking
is
at
dying, man.
a decent setup on gold, but haven't really entered in a while. I keep seeing it'll hit support and then just keep dipping lower and breaking demand zones.
So, Frank, quick coverage on today's numbers. I got to say, this is probably a knockout win for gold bears in terms of economic numbers. You had back to back two fundamental drivers for gold, and really kind of something for us to focus on, Frank. Of course, on the side of EDGEFINDER development, GDP matters so much to gold. It seems to matter a lot less to indices. And unemployment claims are kind of somewhere in the middle, but a knockout win, I would say, for the gold bears today, because GDP again was strong and unemployment claims, we'll put claims, were down. Both of these show economic strength. And again, economic strength tends to rule out the fear buyers when it comes to gold. Would you agree? Does that make sense? I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah, your point on GDP, I wasn't really that wasn't something that came to mind, but that's cool to learn. I didn't know GDP was, as effective as or more effective than other fundamental things. But
Yeah.
one thing to point out though is that COT also, if we want to look at that at all, probably
Mhm.
not now, but they're also buying into this move down. So
Yeah.
maybe by Friday at 3:30 we'll see what they've done, but last week shows some betting on more upside. And
Yeah, I would
honestly,
say,
yeah, that the 1880s mark looks kind of like a good spot if you were to take another attempt at a gold long.
yeah, I would say a very interesting week for gold. You see gold moving down. Big money, however, has been building a position on gold. And so, I personally don't love the idea of being super short on gold purely due to, again, institutional money being so interested in it on the long side. But it's a fascinating, release today. Again, weak GDP. I'm sorry, strong GDP is going to weaken the gold market due to, people who are like, oh my gosh, the economy looks terrible. Let me go into gold. That story is not on the table. We saw strong economic output out of the US, and that is making people who are like looking at gold, they're like, yeah, remove this hedge, get rid of this hedge. A lot of, institutional money might be thinking that way perhaps this week. But again, we will get the COT data. We've got Miko and Marco in the backstage, Frank. So thank you for the updates on your trades. As always, man, and we will see you back on tomorrow for, of course, Core PCE.
Thanks for having me on.
All right. All right, guys, we do have, of course, the trio joining me in a moment. But before we do, we're going to take just a quick break. If you guys, we mentioned the COT data that our company offers. We build software tools for traders. Before we bring Miko and Marco in and ask them some technical setups for today, we're just going to hear from our sponsor, which, by the way, is making it possible for our viewers to get free access to our software. This is something we've invested very heavily in time, resources, and manpower to build. And we're actually offering it with our partnered broker for free. It's really a straightforward process. Essentially, if you switch to this broker and deposit a certain amount of money, you can get access to this. And this broker is regulated. It's one we trust. Check this out. Quick break, and then we'll be back with Miko and Marco.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the EDGEFINDER or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker 8cap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to 8cap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now, back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, and we are back with the classic trio. What's up, Miko and Marco? How you guys doing?
Hello. I'm doing good. How are you, Nick?
Good. It's good to have you guys back on. We've kind of got a thing going on here. It's like I said, it's a built-in component to the show at this point, having you both on, and always good to have you both on because I I'm guilty of getting very caught up in the fundamentals. It's something I'm passionate about. I love learning about, focusing on, but sometimes it's good to stay focused on some of the technical side of the charts as well, which is why we have this awesome show. We need a name for this show. We need like a Technical Thursdays or something like that. We got to come up with something. But let's start jumping into some charts. We'll start with Marco here. Marco, you've got your charts pulled up. You've got your watch list. Share with us what you're looking at here today.
Sure. So I was looking at EU to buy because I saw some nice bullish momentum and some nice candles that with clean closes. But now with this move, it's kind of destroyed my whole trade setup. So right now on EU, I'm waiting for a bit more. This red candle is just showing me that we are kind of stuck in this range on the 1 hour chart, and I'm seeing some indecisiveness. So for EJ, we're just stuck in this flat range. So just waiting for a breakout of this level or this level. AU, also for me, stuck in this range, just kind of descending into an ascending. So nothing is really catching my eye. AJ, same as EJ, stuck in a flat range on the 1 hour chart. The pound has some potential. So I am seeing this large bearish momentum right here, and I was looking to get in on a short, just a sec, on a short in this flag formation, but for me I just saw too much buying pressure in these two blue candles. But again, this overall bearish momentum can continue, so I am seeing if this will probably push to the downside. Then I will be looking to sell. And the last one is NJ, which is like the rest of my Japanese pairs, is just stuck in this flat range. So just seeing what will happen out of it. So this week has been pretty slow, pretty range bound for me personally, corrective. And yeah, I'm just waiting for a bit more. I have seen some news has just come out with this one huge bearish candle. So this might push the markets in one direction. And then I would be, of course, looking to buy or sell depending on what happens.
Yeah, and Marco, just to ask you to follow up on that, with these big news candles like this, do you wait for the dust to settle? Do you ever trade on a candle like this? You know, just how would you respond to a big candle move like that?
Yeah, so it all depends. There are different types of news candles. There are huge indecision news candles. Let's see if I can find one just now. So, for example, let me just try to find one. There isn't one that is like crazy with huge wicks up or huge wicks down. This would maybe be one. This red one that has a large wick to the upside and a large wick to a downside. So after that one, I usually wait for the dust to settle. But if I get a news candle that shows me a clean close and actually picks a direction as it's looking right now, you can see almost no wick. Then usually what I found, it does continue with the momentum. And if I get in on a sell, usually the trade works out. So it all depends on how the news candle forms. If it forms with a large wick up, large wick down, or if it forms with a clean close, that means probably that the direction has been picked. So that's kind of how I view it on the large sample size.
And it also kind of makes sense just to speak briefly on the I guess economic impact of some of these numbers. If you get a candle that closes at the extremities of where it's been trading, what that might also hint is that the news was so market moving that it was able to maintain all of its gains. And again, sometimes those moves can be prolonged for periods of time. You have to think, if you're a fund manager that has $1 billion or $2 billion under management, like a ginormous fund, and something changes and you decide, well, I'm not really wanting to be long euros for my clients anymore, you might be sharing, of course, somebody on our scale, day traders, swing traders, short-term traders, we can pick up on the fact that this guy who may have, just had a ginormous order come across his board to sell a massive amount of euros against the dollar, he might need to fill that out all day. And you and I and Miko, all three of us, we could take advantage of that. So just a good point there in terms of the news and how it could be moving. Miko, what about you? Are you looking at any dollar pairs today? What's anything on your watch list? I know you were trading dollar Swiss last week. Are you still involved in that at all?
Yeah, it's funny you ask. Yeah, I'm still in that position. That one's just been moving sideways on me. It's actually 2 weeks today. I've been in this position. Dollar Swiss is still moving sideways. I have taken some partials, but it's just one of those trades because I have finite TPs and where I put my stop loss. So I kind of let the market do its thing and take some partials on the way. So in this case scenario, the market just continued to consolidate. So it's either going to break to the upside and tag me out, break even up here, or going to break to the downside. So I'm just personally waiting to see what happens with dollar Swiss. The overall analysis is still short bias for dollar Swiss on the higher time frame. So 4H, I'm just trying to take advantage of those lower highs, which is where I got involved. But since then, yeah, that momentum, that bearish momentum has depleted. Really nice move to the downside, but it's moving sideways. So I'm just going to monitor that position, see what happens. There are some other dollar pairs that do look good though. NZD USD, really nice move to the downside this week. I'm looking to see if we can continue that momentum further. Long term, I'm looking at the high time frames, particularly the weekly time frame. And especially for NZD USD and AUD, it looks like both of them could be heading back down to these lows near enough the prior COVID lows from three years ago. So we could be looking at price coming back down here, which could mean a lot of downside for NZD USD. Obviously, fundamentally, we need to see some dollar strength for that to that come into fruition. But from a technical aspect, this looks very likely that we could be coming down to these lows. So I'm personally, for the next foreseeable future, unless something drastically changes, just looking for pullbacks. Caught this here to the downside on Tuesday, I think, and then I'm now looking to see if we can get into another one on the next pullback, maybe into this area. And I'm also keeping an eye on Euro USD. Marco was saying it's looking a little bit choppy, and I say the same as well for the 4H as well, kind of creating higher highs and lower lows and lower highs. So it's kind of all over the place. But if we do see a push taking out this low here, now we've got some lower highs and some lower lows to deal with. I'll be looking at some pullbacks and shorts. So predominantly I'm looking at sells for Euro USD for dollar strength, but I've kind of got that dollar Swiss position from last week, which is opposite to that. So I'm just going to see how that plays out. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at.
And Mika, while you're on the stand here, gold just broke 1900, which is a impressive move. I know you've talked about gold bearishness in weeks past. Where are you at with gold? And I mean, what do you make of this ginormous move down here today?
Yeah, I mean, gold is looking very, very bearish. I mean, it's been a slow kind of grind with gold because it's been moving sideways, consolidating, but it has been some steady lower highs, very minute difference, but it's been very, very steady. And ever since it started cracking through 1940, that's when I become, bearish on gold. In this, I was kind of just neutral because it was sideways. But now we've cleared the 1940 support, and now we're still consistent getting these lower highs as well. So I'm bearish on gold. I was actually looking to trade gold this week, but it doesn't look like it's coming back up to the level. I was hoping this week we could push back to 1940, and I'll look for some shorts there. But gold seems to be a little bit too bearish for that. So I'm looking at the high time frames where particularly gold could probably head towards. I'm looking at this area here. This was a nice little level of resistance where the market broke through and pushed. With enormous momentum, maybe we could come back to 1860. But yeah, I'm bearish on gold. I'm just looking for pullbacks as to where we could go. I've got some areas of interest there, but yeah, for me, I predominantly work on the 4H, so I'm looking at some bigger pullbacks. I'm not too sure I'll see any until maybe next week. But as things stand, it looks like we've got more downside to be had.
Yeah, and it's I mean, quite the move. It's a really fundamentally clear move here today. Again, I was mentioning this just briefly before you guys got on. GDP numbers came out really strong here for the US, and we also saw filing for unemployment tick down, so from expectations. So some good news on the economic front, which of course sounds a little bit for the newbies and the new traders out there. It's like, well, why does that push gold down? Well, gold gets a bid, as we spoke about 15 minutes ago. Gold tends to get a bid when markets are very fearful about the ability of government to keep things in order, central banks to keep things in order, right? When there's fears that there could be inflation running rampant, or that the economy could go into a massive unemployment. Gold actually does very well in that environment, as it's sort of this hedge to everything going on. But when everything starts to look good again, not that we're fully good again, but looking better, right? Economic output looking really strong. Again, that's a big downside push to gold. So very interesting move here this morning to pay attention to, both on the technical and fundamental front, I would say. So Marco, what about you? Any thoughts on gold? Lower time frame, we have a big move on the hourly chart. What are you looking at there on gold?
Sure, let me take a look. So on the 1 hour, definitely moving down. Something I don't like on this lower time frame is this descending structure. Usually, most pairs after you have a descending don't continue down much. So usually they do get some sort of a reaction to the upside. But again, that's not the rule. That's just on a larger sample size. But I like this one candle. It definitely has some strong momentum. It is, of course, a news candle. If it closes like this, I would expect further downside price action. So that's kind of a quick summary. Overall, definitely moving down, but for me, very corrective. The moves are not sustained. The trends are not like a drop, small pullback, a drop, small pullback. That's what I like to see. So just not for me, but I can see some sellers stepping in to the market. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And of course, one big mover here today as well is as you've got the screen there, Marco. What do you think about USDJPY? Because
Sure.
if I'm correct, yep, it should be moving up today because I know yields are moving up, and you know, there's a very strong correlation between the dollar yen and bond yields, which are trading up heavily today. How do you what do you take of this chart? Is this chart how strong is it? How weak is it? What are you thinking?
So how I would interpret this chart is, again, just an ascending channel on the overall larger scale. So barely breaking the highs, retracing. I'm talking about these major highs, printing wicks to the upside. So just some weakness. Again, this now may start pushing, but I need to see the next candle go up and show me some momentum that is as big as this one, I would say. So currently, I would expect this to reverse, to be honest. That's what the technicals are telling me. So I would expect a downtrend to happen, at least a small one. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing with the candles. It's definitely showing me this ascending channel, which I know in most cases reverses in the opposite direction, because the methodology is that the bigger players are just kind of pushing the markets up and taking out the stops. So I'm seeing that these areas are full of liquidity, full of stops from retail traders who are probably spotting the top or trying to find the top of a move. And each time, of course, they get stopped out and the bigger players fill up their sell positions. And in the end, the big players do push the markets down. That's when I try to get in.
Okay, fair enough. Yep. And Miko, earlier this week, I traded pound yen. I was able to catch a pretty good move there. Do you have any opinions on GJ real quick before you take screen? I picked it up right around here and I caught this move and I was feeling so good about it. This is a great example, however, of where I guess partials would have been a lot better, right? There's always the shoulda, woulda, coulda stuff when it comes to trading. But I actually entered around here on this big, huge move up. I did nothing with my trade except trail my stop to right here. So I suppose I did save myself from a bigger move lower, but I trailed out and I left a lot of profit on the table. I know that your style of trading in this case would have been, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, perhaps taking more partials along the way, which would have kept you from, I guess I still made money, so I shouldn't complain, but I certainly left like 2/3 of the profit on the table. If you could take a look at GJ for me, but also how would you have traded that situation had you been in it? If you were in that trade, how would you have taken partials on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let me just get to pound yen. So I was actually looking at pound yen coming into the week. I predominantly trade on the 4H and hourly time frame. So I was analyzing this for some of my audience, and I was saying that buys do look good on the lower time frames because the market still printing a bunch of high lows, and we know that pretty much the monthly, weekly, daily all displaying a lot of bullish momentum as well. So buys in these conditions, will be favorable. So it was nice trade. But for me, I probably wouldn't have taken the trade because when I look to manage my trade in terms of partials, I like to take my first partial around 1.5R. So if I did enter around here, the most recent high is here. So if that's below around 1.5R, it technically would be invalid trade for me. I like to at least take profits at 1.5, and 1.5 would be past the high. So I run the risk of price going up, testing resistance, and coming back and taking me out for a loss because I wouldn't have moved my stop loss to break even yet either. So for me, I wanted to see a bit more distance just because pound yen is kind of trading into this into this uncharted territory. We haven't been in these prices for a very, very long time. So there's no kind of, target I'm kind of set out to trade towards. So I probably wouldn't take the trade from that aspect. But yeah, I do look to take partials along the way. So I normally take 1 or 2, depending how far I push the trade. But I normally take my partials around 1.5R. That's like a nice soft spot for me. And I move my stop loss to break even there as well. But in terms of the trade, I like it. A bunch of high lows here. This is the type of trade that I'll look to take as well. But just a little bit too close to the highs for me. But yeah, since now we broke into the downside, looks like pound yen might take a bit of a steeper retracement now. I still am pretty bullish in pound yen overall, so we might maybe have one more leg to the downside and retrace. But as long as we stay above this low here, back around 180, I still favor more upside for pound yen. But since we're breaking through some structure here, we might retrace a little bit further before we do push north.
Fair enough. Yeah, thanks for that. And I always like having different commentary on the channel, just because, again, as you guys as audience may know your style well, mine knows mine as well. So it's always nice to have differing people come on the stream, have different commentary on perhaps the same charts, but also just on strategies and approaches in general that someone may resonate better with in the audience. That is what we're here to do at the end of the day, put out some value for traders who are looking to learn, looking to improve, for people who are actually out there doing it each and every day. So Miko, Marco, thank you guys for joining us on the show today. Before you go, let me just remind everybody in the audience, check out their YouTube channels. We're going to drop their links in the channel. I'm sure they have great things for you there waiting for you, analysis, tips, tricks, things to learn. So if you enjoyed Miko or Marco's commentary, please, I invite you, make sure to go subscribe to both of them on their respective YouTube channels. And guys, thank you for coming on the show as always, and we'll see you back next week.
Sure. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you guys. Cool. Yep. Always good to have Miko, Marco. And I just like having the diversity in people that come on the show. If you guys are enjoying what we're doing here, what we're trying to do, we have a wonderful group of people that make these shows possible. Our sponsors, we have, of course, our producers, which put on this lovely show. People show up with it, kind of just magically happens in front of the audience's eyes. But I can assure you, there's some really smart and great people that on the producer side are putting these shows together each point. I'm very thankful, and I would imagine you guys are probably thankful as well. If you are, a big fan of the show, do me a quick favor, hit that thumbs up button. And remember, guys, we are ending our 55% off sale on our memberships. If you would like to get trade alerts every time Frank and I take a trade, this is what they look like. You get entries, exits, analysis, breakdowns, pictures, coaching webinars, chat rooms, educational material, and you could download our strategies in PDF form. If that sounds like it would be helpful to you, if any of that sounds like it would be helpful to you, it's free to do this. Have a conversation with someone on our team. There are people standing by, real people in our live chat support team. And when you click the link that's being dropped in the chat right now, it looks like this. Click this link. It's going to take you to what you see on the screen here. This will allow you, when you click chat now, to have a direct message conversation with someone on my team. We have a couple of people who help handle memberships, get people set up within the group, coaching stuff. If you have any needs like that, if you're an aspiring trader, I am very confident that you're going to get more value out of the group than you ever would pay for it. And right now, I'm especially confident in that because all of our prices are 55% off if you message us while we're on this live stream. So as we end the stream here today, go message us, come join the community. We'd love to have you in it. And guys, have a great rest of your trading day. Trade safe, be smart out there, and we will see you back in the next show. See you tomorrow. What's up?
Dude, what happened to you?
Haven't you heard? It's the summer half off discount sale.
Oh, that's right, I forgot.
Right now only, get half off any of our VIP Discord memberships. These memberships include access to our signals, where you can get entries and exits from Frank and I, and full breakdown and analysis with each trade. You can learn our strategies in detail. You can learn how to get funded with our training material to help traders looking for funding. And you can also join the chat room community. We have several membership opportunities, so click the link and check them out for yourself. And remember, you get half off if you either message us or use the discount code you see on the screen now.